Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Wildcard and thank you for subscribing. So let's have a look at what happened last week in the world of union. First up, Rassie Erasmus has stirred up a lot of media following his hour-long complaint video about the referee Nick Berry in the first test of the Lions tour. Nick Berry is an Australian guy. He made quite a few very critical errors, I would say, in the South Africa versus Lions game in the first test. And to summarize, he basically seemed to have made a lot of the big Lions errors. He kind of like downplayed some of the Lions errors, such as when Watson spear tackle wasn't yellow carded, and also a lot of small errors that the Lions made seems to be forgotten. And the second thing that Rassie Erasmus complained about was that the referee seems to disrespect Siya Kolisi. He kind of like hinted there might be some kind of racial issue as he compared Siya Kolisi to the treatment of Alan Wynne-Jones, who was listened to by the referee, and Siya seems to just be told to okay, I don't want to hear it. When Siya tried to speak to the referee, he showed a couple examples of this. So yeah, just first of all, I've seen Nick Berry throughout Super Rugby. Just want to back him up on this point. He's not a racist. He talks like that to everybody in Super Rugby, and he's pretty rude the way he talks, but it's just the way he is. So definitely not like a racist, as some people would suggest. But yeah, so that's something that Rassie stirred up a lot of controversy when Rassie said that about Nick Berry, including Rugby Australia, coming out with a statement, and that this basically has, and Rassie, knowing that he's not allowed to publicly criticize the referee, basically stated in his video that he's happy to put his job on the line if World Rugby felt like he's done something wrong here. So that was a pretty big story last week, which led to obviously his face to hearing I think he's gonna face his misconduct hearings for criticizing Nick Berry from the Lions. Whether or not he's probably gonna get a fine. Most likely he's just gonna get a fine. To see him, for World Rugby to ask him to step down from South African coaching duties would be a pretty big ask. As Rassie stated that he would step down if asked to, but I don't think World Rugby will go as far as that. Probably just put him up a fine. And also, coming out of the first game, Hogg didn't get despite not getting this kind of came out after the second test, which I'll get to in a minute. Stuart Hogg was allegedly, biting with Boks le Roux in the first test, as you can see here in this little clip. So this was a news coming out of the first test as well, following the big uproar about the referee by the Rassie Erasmus. So yeah, that does look kind of, that I don't know what he's doing. What is he doing pressing his mouth against Willy's arm? I'm not too sure. It does look he's biting him, to be honest. Not sure how this will turn out, but we'll have to see. This just came out literally today after the second test, but this happened last week. So yeah, well, quite a strange little clip there. And also just more. So the second test happened last weekend. South Africa were able to come up with a pretty convincing win over the British and Irish Lions. The referee definitely lifted a lot, and the All Blacks head coach Ian Foster basically came out and criticized the game, saying that he fell asleep watching it, and he watched the replay, obviously 10 p.m. to 1 a.m., and he fell asleep, and he said he felt like the teams were it's become very tight in terms of gameplay, almost risk-free type of series, and teams that are afraid to play, they're just relying on low-risk strategies. Interesting to hear that the head coach of the All Blacks saying this. I'm very happy to see the All Blacks not take any penalty kicks and run the ball against the Australians this weekend. So, Fozzie, I will hold you to your words and look forward to a exciting match against the Wallabies this weekend with no kicking. Thank you very much. Now, the test, yes, so this is the test results. The South Africans were able to convincingly beat the British and Irish Lions in the second half in particular. So the first half, the Lions were leading 9 points to 6. And South Africa was struggling a lot. They were struggling with lineouts, with a little bit with the scrum. They were struggling with just territory overall. And the Lions were just very clinical. And the defense for the Lions is the best team, like Lions team ever. Like they literally miss like no tackles this entire series. So their defense has been spot on, not just this game but all tour. And so it was looking pretty dire for the Springboks going into the halftime. And second half came out, Springboks really came out with the block swinging, took a big risk at the start, and Mapimpi able to score with a crossfield kick by Hundred Pollard. Caught it on the full and went in for a try. And then second try was by Lukamyo where Springboks were putting pressure on the Lions in front of the try line. Got a full-on penalty advantage. Faf de Klerk did a grubber kick through, and Lukamyo went in and dotted the ball down behind the try line. And yeah, so that is pretty convincing win in the second half. And especially when the Springboks brought on their bench, massive difference. They called it the bomb squad. I actually thought the bomb squad was like, the World Cup winning team. But somebody told me the bomb squad is actually the strategy of running 6 forwards and 2 backs on the bench. So when the forwards came out in the second half of the Springboks, they were able to like emphatically dominate the British and Irish Lions, including penalties in the scrums, just disrupting the lineouts, stealing the balls from the British and Irish lineouts, and just really, really able to put a big number on the Lions. And really showed a big difference in terms of like the Lions just falling apart under the pressure when the Springboks, the fresh legs came on for the 4-pack. And the Lions just couldn't handle a lot of their own, the downfall was to do with their own mistakes and errors as well. So just quick look at the match stats. Maybe we should have a look. So 179 run meters to 105 to the South Africans. And I think the ones that were 6 turnovers for the South Africans and 14 turnovers conceded. So 6 turnovers conceded for South Africa, very, very good. And 14 for the Lions, that's pretty poor. And most of that came from the second half. Now let's look at the defense. 121 tackles for South Africa, 15 missed tackles, 107 tackles for the Lions, 5 missed tackles. That is incredible defense. Despite that, South Africa was still able to exploit the defense and get 2 tries on the ball with cross-field kick behind, taking advantage of the rush defense from the British and Irish Lions essentially. And 2 lineouts lost in the first half of the South Africa, but they were able to tie that up in the second half. 3 lineouts lost for the Lions. Pretty sure there was only 1 in the first half, 2 lost in the second half when Luke Diaga came on. Massive turnaround for both teams. And then penalties, 10 conceded for South Africa, 15 for the Lions. This is a huge change from last week where Lions literally conceded 1 penalty in the second half. And I think it was like 6 or something in the first half. So Lions had like 7 penalties overall in the entire game last week. And that's doubled this week. And South Africa went down a little bit. I think they were like 14 or something last week. So their discipline has improved. Yellow cards, 1 apiece. Some might say that Cheslin Kobe got away with the yellow instead of a red. He did take out Conor Murray in the air. Quite dangerous play. So he got really lucky not to get a red card there, only a yellow. But I think it's kind of balanced because Stuart Hogg also didn't even get a yellow card for a potentially yellow or a red card tackle. So I thought that's kind of like maybe balances out for both teams anyway. And then following, there was a lot of like shuffling and pushing in the game. Let's have a look at this. So there was a lot of like a lot of tempo in the game. There was a lot of pushing and shuffling. No one got sin-binned for pushing and shuffling. And so World Rugby reviewed it. No one got anything except somehow they found that Kyle Sinckler for biting. So this is basically an incident. So Sinckler is the only one that got done for all the shuffling and pulling. There was a point where I thought there was some pretty egregious stuff. Like The one that everybody missed, that was shown during the game, was Mauro Itoje kneeling on Damien Delende's neck whilst like sitting on his chest. He just like basically planted his knee on Delende's neck like this, and Delende was like just trying to like shovel him off. So that was pretty bad and egregious. No citing there. However, they did cite this. I don't know how they could have seen this, but apparently Sinckler bit Franco Moster's arm, and then there's like a replay showing that he was running after everyone's gone off. He was like looking at his arm as he's like running away. So not sure how they're gonna like absolutely confirm this, but yeah. So we have to kind of like see what's happening here. Is there a result coming out? Yeah, so CS complained, and they said they will have a look at it after the game. And is he actually? Oh, so apparently they have footage that's not broadcast to the general public they will look at. So yeah, they haven't actually made the sanction yet. So we'll have to see how this turn out for Sinckler. You'll be pretty bad for the Lions to lose a tight head prop, another prop at this stage of the test. And also this video I kind of like put together. A lot of you guys watched it, and there's a lot of like interesting comments from you guys. Thank you for that. It was quite entertaining reading your comments. But yeah, Dan Biggar took a dive in this scuffle, and basically this is basically right after Cheslin Gobi took out Conor Murray with the height, not a high tackle, but took him out in the air where he got a yellow card. So Dan Biggar, right? Let's have a look. Takes a dive here, right in front of the referee. So there's a bit of pushing and shuffling. Bunambi comes in, bumps him aside. Dan Biggar bumps into Furlong. Goes down. Oh my god, he's in so much pain. Oh god. Oh brother. Oh, it's terrible. He goes down. And right in front of the referee here, right? Right. Faf goes in. Right in front of, and then he gets back up. Like this is literally like a few seconds later, it gets back up. So he took a dive, tried to move a penalty. Referee wasn't having any. Gets back up, you know. And yeah, Oscar goes to Dan Biggar, right? And you know, a lot of guys are like, oh, Biggar got pushed from behind. So it's difficult to tell like how severe this push is. But here's something you can tell, right? So people were saying that, oh, he pushed him. So this is you know, he pushed him pretty hard. This is basically pretty dangerous. But we should have a look at what the evidence show. So he did get pushed into Furlong, bumps his head on his shoulder, right? And he goes down, and you can tell it wasn't a hard bump because he hit him in the shoulder. So his head wasn't like knocked out, because you can tell it wasn't a hard bump because Furlong, seeing his own teammate just got hit in his own like shoulder or arm, doesn't even care. He keeps looking this way. He had a look at him, and he realizes that he didn't really hit him that hard. So he just kept minding his own business into the crowd, right? So that you can tell his head collision against Furlong wasn't very hard. Like this one here wasn't very hard. Because because Furlong looked at him, he was just like, nah, it wasn't that bad. He didn't even care. So he knew that wasn't a hard. If he had actually, you know, hit him pretty hard, he would have been, you know, making sure that Dan Biggar's okay. Like, you know, his own teammate and 5A, pretty important player in the team. So the fact that he's walking away tells me that he's not really a big deal. I thought it was really fun here. Faf is like, what the hell happened? Hello, you okay, mate? Faf's like, okay. And Alan Wynne-Jones is just like, yeah, don't worry about him. Don't worry about him. Alan Wynne-Jones is like, yeah, don't worry about him. I've seen this before. Like, Faf is confused, right? Big question marks on his head. Like, what? What happened to you? And Alan Wynne-Jones is like, yeah, don't worry about him, mate. Don't worry about him. I've seen this before. And yeah, and he gets back up. No issues. And the 2-second row having a go. So yeah, all the guys, thank you for your comments. But that's how I see it. It's a dive. He wasn't hurt. He got back up. And his head collision onto Ty Furlong wasn't really that bad. It looked bad on the slow mode. Wasn't really that bad, as you can tell by Furlong's reaction. So yeah, there you go. Go have a look at this. This is on my channel if you want to have a look. The replay. And then next thing, bad news for the Springboks. So Faf de Klerks and Pieter-Steph du Toit potentially, Pieter-Steph is definitely injured. And Faf de Klerk potentially out on Saturday. So this is a little bit of 50-50 for them. Pieter-Steph came off early in the first half when he seemingly had a shoulder injury. Faf also limped up the field in the second half, so he looked like he had a hip injury. Yeah, it's on television. So Pieter-Steph had a shoulder injury. So yeah, not too sure how this will go for the Springboks, but Du Toit's most likely not going to make it, but Faf will have to wait maybe to see if he's going to be able to make it. As of now, yeah, both of them are currently big question mark. So the good news for the Springboks is that Vermeulen, the number 8 for the Springboks, he is probably the best number 8 in the world. His work on the breakdown is just impeccable, and he carries the ball really well. He's just an absolute workhorse for the Springboks. So Vermeulen, he was injured in the final, I think the final club match before they went into training camp for the Springboks. He was literally injured like on the eve of the Springbok team announcement. So it was really, really unfortunate. And it looks like he's back in the training camp with the Springboks. It looks like he might be okay to make the test series in the third test. We shall see if he gets announced. The announcement should be coming up a bit later today, as after this video being made. But yeah, we shall see if he makes a spot in the team. Be very interesting to see, because he's a very important player, and they will be desperate having him back after Faf gets injured, and Faf and Du Toit gets injured. Especially Du Toit, he'll fill in that role. And also they caught up. The Springboks also caught up Jack's. The coach Jack Nianaba caught up a few players to fill the injury spots. Rascal Speckman, Dan Dupriez, and Johan Grobella. They got caught up into the Springbok camp. And yeah, we shall see if any of these guys gets a play. And finally, the last bit of news. The Bledisloe Cup is this weekend, and the first test will be played at Eden Park. Wallabies were granted an exemption to travel to New Zealand for the Bledisloe Cup series. Now they have to play 2 weeks of test matches before coming back to Australia to Perth to play the third test match for the Bledisloe Cup. So it was originally scheduled for 2 games in New Zealand anyway, but it was supposed to be New Zealand, Australia, New Zealand, and it was going to be Eden Park, Perth, Wellington. However, the fact that they have to move the Wellington ahead, so they can't act. So ideally, they would have Eden Park, Wellington next week, and then Perth the week after. But Wellington, the Wellington Stadium, whatever it's called, is apparently booked out next week. So there was a Beer Vana. I don't even know what it is. So apparently a craft beer festival. People go to rugby. You can probably run the festival the same time as Bledisloe Cup and boost your sales. Like, what? Just run at the same time and have like all the people get drunk, watch the rugby after. Like, what's the sense? Yeah, anyway, just have anyway. I don't understand. So apparently they can't get access to the stadium. So there's talks that there's potentially 2 tests being played in Eden Park. So that's not locked in, but that is potentially what's gonna happen. Potentially what might happen for the Bledisloe Cup. And anyway, so Eden Park is a place that New Zealand don't really lose. Makes the game a bit more interesting for the Wallabies. I just hope that they don't lose by too much. Just just please, Fozzie, just, don't beat up the Wallabies too much. Please, can I just have that? Can I just have that, Sir Fozzie? Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys a little bit later today for the team announcement for the Lions tour. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys a bit later.